contested the constitutionality of the Bihar Land Reforms Act 1950. He argued that the act was discriminatory towards zamindars, violated the right to equality under Article 14, and failed to provide just compensation for the property acquired, thus infringing upon his fundamental right to property. This landmark case became a defining moment in India's constitutional and legal history. The Supreme Court upheld the validity of the Act, acknowledging the government's intent to promote agrarian reform and social justice. The judgment struck a delicate balance between protecting fundamental rights and enabling transformative laws aimed at reducing inequality. It set a crucial precedent for future land acquisition cases and became a cornerstone in India's journey towards equitable land ownership.
There were people like Shankari Prasad in Bihar, 10,000-12,000 acres of land, Mithila, Punjab, everywhere. But at the same time, there was no land for large number of people. So it was decided, reforms were decided that we should have, if not equal, at least lot of redistribution of land. And that is how 1953 Act was brought in and it was passed. Zamindari Unmoolan, that was the thing.
The Constitution First Amendment Act of 1951 made key changes to the Indian Constitution. There were 3 fundamental changes made in the Constitution through its amendments. It allowed for restrictions on freedom of speech and expression, protected land reform laws from judicial review, and clarified the right to equality by allowing special provisions for the most vulnerable sections of society. Introduced in Parliament on May 12, 1951, the Constitution First Amendment Act of 1951 sought to amend several articles including 15, 19, 85, 87, 174, 176, 341, 342, 372 and 376. It also inserted Articles 31A and 31B and introduced the 9th schedule to the Constitution. 9th schedule was added to protect the land reforms and other laws included in it from the judicial review. In addition, the Constitution First Amendment Act of 1951 also provided that state trading and nationalization of any trade or business by the states is not to be invalid on the ground of violation of the right to trade or business. India's first general elections were held from October 1951 to February 1952. These elections were conducted under the provisions of the newly adopted Constitution and marked the beginning of country's democratic journey.
Though the elected leaders of a free nation enjoy the confidence of their people, it is the people themselves, unknown and unsung, who weave and wear the fabric of democracy. What follows here is the record of such a people, the people of our nation who played a worthy, active part in a great experiment, the experiment of free India's first general elections.
After gaining independence, India faced the critical task of electing a truly representative government through universal adult suffrage. The first general elections held between October 25, 1951 and February 21, 1952 became a landmark moment in the nation's history. For the first time under the framework of the newly adopted Constitution, millions of Indians exercised their right to vote. This Constitution had established India as a sovereign, democratic republic, adopting a parliamentary system of governance. Conducting free and fair elections to choose members of the first Lok Sabha was essential to bringing the democratic principles of the Constitution to life. These elections were more than a political process. They were a monumental democratic experiment, the largest ever undertaken in human history. They marked the true beginning of the India's democratic journey, a powerful expression of the people's will and the visionary constitution that gave them that voice. The entire electoral exercise in India rests on three pillars. Article 326 of the Constitution, the Representation of the People Act 1950, and the Representation of the People Act 1951. Together, these provide the legal and constitutional framework for free and fair elections. Notably, to keep pace with evolving electoral needs, both the RP Acts were last amended in 2021 through the Election Laws Amendment Bill 2021. The amendments aim to bring in key electoral reforms. The Representation of the People Act 1950 deals with the allocation of seats, delimitation of constituencies, voter qualifications, and the preparation of electoral rolls. The Representation of the People Act 1951 governs the conduct of elections as well as electoral offences, disputes, and related procedures. These reforms represent the continuous effort to strengthen the integrity